Good morning, my dear children. Today's topic is laws of motion. Laws of motion were proposed by Sir Isaac Newton. Laws of motion is of three types. One is Newton's first law, Newton's second law, and also Newton's third law. Before going to the concept of Newton's law, we can define. Now I am going to explain the concept of force. Force in the sense, a push or pull of an object is called force. A force can change the state of motion or direction of an object. That means if we apply any force, that means if we apply initially any force to the object position will be changes. Here now we are going to learn the concept of Newton's first law. Newton's first law defines that whenever we apply any force to any object, initially the position of the object will be changes. Similarly, note down the point that if we won't apply any force to the object will remain in rest position. For example, as we are traveling in the bus, what happens? The bus is at rest position. If the driver start a vehicle, what happens? The bus begins to be moved from one place to another place. That means initially if we apply force, the bus is going to be started up. If we won't start the vehicle means it is at rest position. This comes under Newton's first law of motion. Is it clear? Next, Newton's second law of motion explains that rate of change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the net force acting on the object. It means here momentum in the sense product of mass and velocity. Momentum is denoted with the symbol P. P is equals to m into V. Similarly, coming to the point of Newton's third law, for every action there must be equal and opposite reaction. Now let us come to that concept of Newton's first law, Newton's second law, Newton's third law based upon its individual activities. The first activity begins with Newton's first law, that is glass tumbler activity. Activity 1, observing the motion of a coins kept on a thick paper. First is aim. Observe the motion of coins kept on a thick paper. It means whenever we apply any force to the object, the position of the coin will be changes or not, we have to be rectified. That is aim. Materials required: glass tumbler, coin, and also a thick paper. Procedure: let us consider a glass tumbler. Now place a thick paper on the surface of the glass tumbler. Now try to place a coin on the surface of paper. Now observe the changes. That means initially we have to apply the force or drag the paper. What happens if we drag the paper? The coin may falls inside the tumbler. This is due to because of gravity. That means gravitational force. If we won't apply any force, that means if we will not drag the paper, what happens? The coin and the paper remains at rest position. That means we cannot see any change in the paper. That means coin will not falls inside the tumbler. Is it clear? That means we have to observe that whenever we are applying the force, the object position is changes. That means position of the coin is began to be changes. If we won't apply any force, the coin remains at rest position. This comes under Newton's first law of motion. Observation: as we apply the force, the position of the coin will be changes. Result: by this we conclude that whenever we apply the force to the object will change its direction or position. If we won't apply the force, the object remains at rest position. This is activity 1 concept.